Welcome to Gamer Chat Weekly, a podcast of gaming news, topics, fan questions, and special guests.
Hi, and welcome to Gamer Chat Weekly. I'm Jerome.
And I'm Cameron. And today we have two very special guests. We have Jonathan Myers and Sarah Elmale. Welcome.
Thank you.
Did I get that name right? Did I get that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
In your face, Jerome.
No, I believed in you. I never said I didn't believe in you.
Oh, well, you don't like me anyways. All right, so you guys work for Reactive Studios, correct? Right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And can you tell us just first off a little bit about yourself, who you are, and then we'll get into what game you're making. So first, I'm gonna start with Jonathan. Just give us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what you do.
Cool. Well, I started out, I was a kind of a writer, playwright, did some screenplays, and then I had always been involved in games, but I became a developer, and ultimately that led to narrative design. I worked with indies here in Boston, and ultimately, formed my own company with some people, and we're working on, the current game we're going to be talking about. And I'm sort of a creative director type, creative lead.
Creative director, CEO, president.
Yeah.
Slash
yeah.
labels.
AKA Captain.
Yeah.
The captain.
Yeah. I only take the CEO title because we have to be official, and we're trying to get funding and things like that eventually. So it's like, you know how that is.
Yeah, it's understandable.
You're a man with many hats.
Trying.
The biggest hats. And Sarah, a little bit about you, your background.
Yeah, sure. Mine's much shorter. I'm a voiceover artist. That's it. That's the story. Yeah.
Now, and I have a question for you, Sarah. Being a voice actor, a voiceover artist, out of all the other guests I've had on Gamer Chat Weekly, I always have to ask because it just seems to be kind of like a prevalent thing for voiceover artists. Did you go to like a theater school or anything? Take theater
school. I did. Yes. I mean, it's accurate to say that I took theater and I've trained in theater. I was an East Asian Studies major at Wesleyan. Yeah, so I actually studied Japanese and other things and studied abroad that way. But I did conservatory for like a quick intense month in Oxford, England, and had been doing theater otherwise before then through school and stuff. And I still do theater with friends every now and then, although my focus has shifted almost entirely to voiceover.
Yeah, there's no hope for me as a voiceover artist then.
That's not true. That's not true at all.
I mean, I was in the senior high school play once. Does that count? I mean, is that
sure does. I just today I went to the Fringe and saw a friend of mine who we had done high school musical theater together and had a great time, and now we're both actors.
Yeah, I was in a high school play like promoting like the not usage of drugs and alcohol before our senior prom, and the guy that came in to basically direct and produce the play was like, yeah, we don't want anyone that's in theater currently. I want to take completely people that have never done it before and bring them in and see how I could do this. And it worked out great. It was awesome. I had a blast with it.
And I tried out for a sexual health and education teen council in my high school area and did not get in. So it just goes to show you.
Oh, wow, what losers! Didn't let you in.
I know, right?
I see. Now you're like, look at me now. Ha 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 ha.
Mm-hmm. Take that, high tops. All being nice and providing healthcare and education to teenagers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you jerks.
All right, so John, can you tell us a little bit about what you're currently working on behind the scenes?
Sure. It's we're calling it an interactive radio drama. It's called by the name of Codename Cygnus, and it's going to be out on iOS. And what interactive radio drama means, if you can imagine sort of the old school, old time radio dramas like The Shadow or Captain Midnight or Flash Gordon, things like that. These short episodic pieces. If you can imagine that, kind of maybe mixing that with a choose your own adventure book where the sound files are something that you're branching around through, and you're choosing your path through this sort of radio drama, and you're the hero, and add to that even the twist that you can use your voice in order to make those decisions. So, it's, we want people playing with their headphones if possible, And you can also tap on the screen if you're in public and you don't want to speak up and make your decisions, with your voice. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like you get to play the star of your own radio drama, and we're using a lot of those techniques. It's not set back in that time period of like the 30s or 40s, but we're using a lot of those, sort of like the stinger moments of like, oh, you just found out there's a cliffhanger and blah blah, dun dun dun,
Plot twist.
Yeah, exactly. And we're always going to have cliffhangers, and we're always going to have these bigger than life villains who have evil laughs, of course. Yeah, exactly. So we're bringing in those techniques. So it's like you get to go and live in this world and play, and it's entirely audio. There's no visuals to the app really. There's like kind of a player. There's a UI menu. It's more than anything just a content system. So it's all about the sound effects, the music, and most importantly, the voiceover. And we're working with a lot of actors, like over 25 for the launch content of like 3 episodes.
Wow. And all the decisions you make will carry through each episode.
That's the idea. Is we want to run it like a series and just keep moving forward and make the decisions that you have, the decisions that you made earlier on. Yeah, just keep staying with you. Kind of like what Walking Dead is doing, and I don't know whether they're going to carry that over into season 2 or not, but
When you said there was no real visuals, it's more like audio taking you through it. I just kept thinking of like the old school like DOS game Zork, where it's like you wake up in an alley and there's a pipe to your left and a man to your right. What do you do? Type.
Go right.
It is.
Don't
It's
know how
very
to go.
much. Yeah, it's pulling off of that stuff. Like actually, some of the folks, like one of our advisors was was on at Infocom back in the day. Brian Moriarty. He also made Loom, the game Loom. It was one of the original, those point and click adventure games, and so he, we did a lot of drafts where he gave us feedback because he's been around doing that stuff for a very long time, and he always wanted to see this kind of thing happen. It's just now the tech was kind of there, and it's kind of the time to be able to make this sort of thing happen.
Now, what was, I guess, your decision, John, to basically make the studio and then go ahead and make a game in this kind of a style? Like,
It kind of happened in the reverse.
Oh,
it's like, well, like, yeah, because I worked on Game of Thrones Ascent. I worked on a couple Facebook games that were like these casual sort of large audience Game of Thrones Ascent. Yeah, I had so much fun working on that, and was used to kind of adapting IPs, and I went to chat with these other guys that were starting to play around with voice recognition. And entirely audio games, and they were like, well, what do you want to do? I'm like, oh, let's do something, choose our adventure, let's do something narrative. And that would have been around like January, February-ish, and we were like, well, let's just get a demo together, let's get some prototype and just see what happens, and maybe we'll partner on this. And we took it to GDC, and people were really liking it, and I was starting to talk to people, and actors were like very interested, and I think it was just a little bit before we chatted with you, Sarah, but people were interested enough in the idea that we're like, well, let's just, get together and make this and actually form a company and officially just go for broke with it. And it was actually in GDC, Sarah, where I was chatting with Lee Alexander, and she was like, and you and I already knew each other, but she was the one that was like, oh my God, I think it was the speakers party, and she was like, you have got to talk to Sarah about this, and I'm like,
So
you think
sweet. Oh my God.
she's like, do you think and I didn't know. I was like, do you think she'll want to do this? And she's like, oh yeah. I don't know. It's so funny when you're at that point when you just got this like little demo together. You're like, who's gonna care, right?
And actually yesterday for my birthday, I Skyped with Lee, and she like game mastered me through like a pen and paper. Like, here's what's your inventory. I was like, I want to look at the cave walls, and I like almost cried. It was so exciting.
Wow.
It was
That's
so much
awesome.
fun.
She's
Oh,
getting
man.
she's getting into the pen and paper RPG stuff right now, right?
she's the new DM.
She just
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and she was. I mean, she's such a not just. I mean, if you've ever watched Lee work at a conference, I mean, she writes things up before they're even finished happening in front of you.
Amazing.
So she's just her turns of phrase and her prose was just like, John was sitting next to me, my boyfriend who's a writer, and we would just like gasp at this like incredibly beautiful prose that just flowed forth. It was like it's a special moment.
Oh, that's
I'm gonna
amazing.
have to call her up and
It's a
play
good
some
birthday
D&D.
present.
Be like, I need you to
Oh.
DM this for me because I'm not very creative when it comes.
Oh man, good stuff.
So I have a question for you, Sarah.
Mhm.
As a voiceover artist, is it how difficult is it to do a voiceover for a game where there's really very minimal visual aids, I guess. So I assume you like really have to like sell it, like really sell it.
Well, I end up trusting my direct. I mean, in any case, I end up trusting my director, but with games especially because there's just so many. Actually, I would say that it's almost easier with an audio game to keep track of all the different variables because with a game that's full of visuals that I have yet to see or yet to understand how my voice or the dialogue is going to be incorporated into a player's experience, like that's a lot of question marks that I have, and so I really have to trust people who are making the game on their end to know and to picture that as I'm performing and keep me in line. Whereas with an audio only game, it's like I know that they're hearing what I'm saying, and if I'm not being clear, or in the case of this game, if I'm not lifting a prompt so they understand that there's a decision that has to be made, I know exactly what the information they have, if that makes sense. So that's actually, in that sense, it's almost a little bit easier. Although I think that when you get character art for casting, and as you go into recording, that can be immensely helpful. And you don't always get it, but when you do, that can already give you ideas about a character in a way that not having that, you might have to sort of work a little bit to find it.
I never thought of it that way because I usually think of when a voiceover artist goes into like voice a character, they have a script in front of them, but they may also have the actual scene being played out or something. To kind of give
that that varies. Different games will give you different amounts of, like, some games will play through a cinematic if they've already got it, or they'll show you the level, or they'll play a little bit, but not all of games will have all of those pieces or be able to share them or want to share them with you. So I tend to, different games, I get different amounts of that kind of information in advance of recording. It's kind of varies.
I know I have a hard time getting some of my people when I'm doing like web shows and stuff. I'm trying to like CGI things in the green screen room, trying to get my actors to actually like act like there's something in the room with them. It's so hard to do. Like I couldn't imagine actually sitting there in like a room with a microphone trying to portray a certain emotion without any sort of aid. I'd be like, oh, I'm supposed to act scared, but I'm in a room with a microphone. This thing's not scaring me. Someone throw a spider.
Someone
throw a spider.
Tell that I'm wrestling a tiger right now.
You're wrestling a tiger, Jerome? Couldn't
Yes.
tell. You sound so not caring that there's a tiger in your room.
Ow, it scratched me. No, I'm okay. I got it.
And I'll tell you, that's the neat thing from where I stand in the process is like watching them do that magic stuff. It's really cool when we're like, well, sometimes I hate to say it, I'll write something that's kind of flat, and I'm like, I don't know, this needs to be better. You got any ideas? And they'll just come up with the neatest idea in terms of using just their voice to make the character sound really, really cool. And it's like, oh, thank you, you saved me.
Yes, I appreciate it.
And it is, they can come up with it on the spot. I think that's what makes voiceover artists really good, is that they can, just snap just like that, put something on and make it happen and make it very authentic and real, go into that pretend world very quickly. It's really neat to watch.
So improv would be a nice skill to have, I suppose.
Improv is sort of known for being especially fantastic for voiceover because it's different than yeah. I mean, as different from other kinds of like theater, for example. I mean, you really with voiceover you tend to need to do things. For example, doing things 3 in a row is really common, especially if you have a short line. And so providing instant variety in those 3 takes that you do back to back, like that's an improv skill, is being that spontaneous and creative and really differentiating stuff. Whereas if you're theater, it's, you tend to have, I've prepared this monologue this way, and now we're going to do this scene and sort of take our time with it. And so thinking on your feet is especially valuable for voiceover. Taking improv classes and doing improv is, I found, enormously helpful. And I hear it from coaches all the time.
So, this is another question for Sarah. You're the character. You're like a narrator in the game. Would you call that like a narrated kind of role?
I'm side-eyeing Jon in my studio.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm an aid. Is that helpful? Does that make sense?
Totally.
Right?
You were guiding the player or whatever, kind of ish.
Yeah. I sometimes refer to your role and also Alex's role as sort of the narrator characters. They're responsible for presenting the prompts to the player by which they make a decision. Because if you have only audio, it's not like you have text that says, well, do you want to do this or that? It's actually a voice coming at you. And in our game, it's a character that's kind of in your ear as though they're like speaking to you through like a mic. They're back at headquarters, and so Sarah, if you can imagine the spy handler, the person back at HQ that is giving you the play-by-play. That's the sort of role. And so yeah, I mean, I think you're a narrator, and because a lot of times it is kind of up to you to describe the scene and describe what's going on as well. Mm-hmm. It just can't be third person. It has to be kind of it's yeah.
Yeah. I didn't watch 24, so I can't, it's really silly of me to bring it up, but there's always like that trope of that person who's got sort of the information at their fingertips back at HQ, and they're kind of like helping you out,
24 makes me laugh sometimes. It's like, I always wonder, because like every episode's an hour, and you can watch an entire season, and I have never seen no one use a restroom.
That's a good point.
I mean, it's like Jack Bauer can go from like country to country in episode, like a half an episode. Like, that was more than an hour, sir. You were on a jet for at least 6 hours. Still a good show, though. All right, Jerome, do you have any questions, or am I just going to keep on keeping on?
Yes, so we were kind of talking earlier, sorry. We were kind of talking earlier about some of these other voice actors that you're going to have. Would you like to tell us about some of them?
That was my next question. Good job, Jerome.
Sure.
I have one good question, and I was waiting for the right time to use it.
Yeah. Well, one of them, Logan Cunningham, who was Rux in Bastion. He's with Supergiant Games. He joined the cast. He's playing our sort of the first, since we're a spy thriller, kind of a James Bondish kind of thing. He's playing the first nemesis, your first nemesis, sort of the Bond villain kind of character, and that voice kind of fits really well with that. And actually, that's entirely due to Sarah that we got him on, because you and I were chatting, and I told you about this, and it was like, oh, please be in this because we need some good voice actors, and you're like, well, my friend Logan might want to do this, and I was like, really? And
that's
that was
his sound profile.
Yeah. Oh, and it was like, I was like immediately, it was that was the role, like, oh, Nemesis, and so yeah, emailed him, and he's like, this sounds like fun, and brought him on, and we wrote, the character thinking of him, and it's, so he's one of those sort of well-known actors that's on board. The other, and actually, you know what? Holy cow! It's also because of you, Sarah.
I do a lot of casting people by accident, just like fortuitously. This is not the first time I've cast Logan either.
Yes, and I also have another list in my database of people that I need to get in touch with because you've mentioned them. So there will probably be more. But yeah, Rob Wyatt Hoff, who played John Marston in Red Dead Redemption, he was in a piece on Polygon recently, and Sarah had seen that and was tweeting about it, and I follow Sarah on Twitter. That's the most interesting stuff all the time about interesting narrative games, and I try to follow people that are following narrative games, and I saw that piece based on what Sarah and I think I replied something like, we have got to get him on this game stat,
and I was like, yeah,
and so I kept digging around, and it just turned out I found his email doing some searching on the internet, and gave him a shot. And even then, Sarah, you were like giving me a pep talk, like, because I had written this email, I'm like, do you think it's going to sound cheesy if I just ask? And you're like, it sounds awesome.
Never
hurts.
I mean, what's the worst they can say? They can say no, and then you try again later.
And the best thing, you have John Marston on your game. That's the best case scenario. It worked,
yeah. And he, he's in Indiana, and I'm also from Indiana, and so like I was like, hey, I know you're hanging out and you're not really into the the big stuff anymore, but we're doing this game, and it's it's a small simple thing. It's all about voice acting, and it's about just radio drama. It's on the iPhone, and I kind of explained what it was, and he's like, that sounds like fun. And so it just went from there, and as as we've grown, we've just picked up momentum, and people are interested, and it's becoming a place where the voice actors are excited to be a part of it, because it's it's highlighting that talent, and the writing and the acting, and that's not always the case with video games. So people are excited to be a part of it, and it's I hope we bring on more and more voice talent.
Yeah, well,
I
that's
can't
really
wait
cool.
to hear his stuff. I'm so excited. Oh man.
Yeah, we released.
So excited.
Yeah. We released a very small clip out to our backers, in the Yeah, I'll actually I can probably put it on Twitter and show you, or put it on the Skype channel and show you guys. And
Awesome.
if you want to play it for the podcast, I'll let you guys do that.
Yeah, if you wanna link it,
Ooh.
I could play on
All
the
right.
podcast.
While you guys are chatting, I'll find it and send it to you guys over Skype here.
Sure. I think it would be really cool if like he does, you have him do like a little Easter egg of like him just doing like his like John Marston, just for like
Well,
a little clip.
yeah, well, his voice. I mean, a lot of that is just him and his
Yeah.
voice, and we definitely have taken the character in a different turn. So it's not like we're not trying to make him like who he was in the cowboy, but
Right.
and it's actually quite an interesting spin. I can't talk too much about it,
Oh.
but but
It's like zip, zip.
yeah. Well, and I can always tell you about it, Sarah. whenever you,
Oh,
whenever you want.
good. Goody.
Yeah, but-
Yay.
We've been so busy that literally we were like writing it last week and recorded him over on Saturday because this is post-launch content that we're already working on. Let me find it. Okay, I have now dropped on. It's like a short MP3. It's just a soundbite. It's something we're going to be shooting out to the Twitterverse and dropping around. But you can pull that off of Skype right now if you like.
I'm currently saving it.
Huzzah.
Yeah. So this
It's a
is the
treat for me.
professional.
I'm so sorry.
Cool. Yeah, this is the professional me going, oh, yeah, we have something we're supposed to release this week. I'll just give it right now. It's funny. I'm just now getting used to this whole notion of trying to be, a PR person or, represent the company and all that. And it's kind of fun. It's fun doing it indie because, with larger companies, like when I was working for Zynga, there's always you have to be careful about what
yeah.
you say. It's like, and now if like I release something, it's like, well, that was planned ahead of time.
Because I planned on doing this today. I just
Yeah.
acted like I didn't to surprise you all.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we gonna go ahead and play this, I suppose.
Go for it, man.
All right, cool. All right, you heard it here first on Gamer Chat Weekly. All right.
I'm no longer who I once was. I woke. I'm Lazarus now.
Wow, that does sound like him.
It is. It's
I definitely, I definitely, get what you guys are saying about a lot of his voice acting is him.
And he's
cool
and
name.
he's
Yeah, that
yeah.
didn't even hear a very good quality of it because like you played it off your computer, but
Well, yeah, it's going through my headset.
it still
which kinda
sounded
sucks, but,
sounded pretty good.
Cool, man.
I'm
Yeah,
excited.
I mean, you watch that Polygon profile is amazing and like kind of an incredible piece of I mean reporting and just a really great slice of him. And he shares. It does a discredit to say that it's just him, like to his talent, because he is incredibly talented. But he does have just immediately evident qualities that are very similar to John Marston. That is like I don't know, the good ones, the nice ones.
And it's such a smooth voice too. Like it's it was
Even
it was a lot of fun just working with him. It was really cool. Yeah, and you're gonna be in the episode, so yeah.
hooray!
Yeah.
It's so fun.
He mentioned, yeah.
I know.
So
Yeah,
excited.
yeah.
She's like, yes, yes.
I am. I'm freaking out. As a gamer, I'm freaking out. I'm just excited. I'm a fan of his work.
I kind of felt bad because at first, when we first got the email about doing the podcast, I actually thought, he was also coming on. And my co-host who couldn't be here today still thinks that he's in the podcast right now.
Oh, we should like text her and be like,
Oh, no, you
John Marston was the most amazing man.
you have
That
to
John
listen.
Marston.
You have to hear these texts I was getting from her. She goes, she's like, I want to talk to the hot Red Dead guy. He's only like 10 years older than me. She goes,
Yeah.
She's like, fuck you, Comcast.
Yeah. Well, he's and the thing is, he's got a wife and a couple kids, and he's we're here at like almost midnight on a Tuesday doing this podcast, but yeah, it's not really something he can do.
Well, yeah, but it was just funny because like the last thing I got from her before, like I don't know if her phone died or something, but it goes, Comcast, I feel like I'm sitting in a cave. making me miss my chance with him. LOL, JK. There you go, Angie.
Yeah, I guess
publicly
as much as
shamed
I
you.
want to talk to John Marston, I mean, I guess now I don't have to feel bad for her.
Well, we could still say that he was on the show.
Oh yeah,
He did appear on the show. His
Yeah.
voice
Yeah.
Yes,
appeared.
he
on
did
the
appear. I mean, technically, if
Yes.
you think about it.
You heard it here first.
show. Yeah, first.
So when you guys got the idea to start the game and get everything, all the the groundwork put through, and you decided to put everything up on Kickstarter, how did you guys go about basically crowdfunding? Like, did you already have like a kind of a big following, or did you just kind of go through word of mouth at first and it just got bigger? I mean, you guys reached your goal, so congrats on that.
Yeah, it's interesting, and once again, it kind of goes back to Sarah. Like I didn't have a huge plan. I knew that we were, we were doing it at the end because we were mostly done with a lot of the recording for the initial episodes, but we wanted to be able to start doing the next episodes, like the one, run with one with Rob and another one that we're kind of working on now, and we wanted to hit the ground running. We needed better music. We needed kind of a buffer, as we went to PAX because we're going to take some time off for that. So, that part of it was that, yeah, it'd be nice to have a little bit of funding, but the other part was like we needed to get some attention on us, and nobody knew what was going on, and we had we're an obscure indie company, and so the idea of the Kickstarter was also just to gain attention and get a fan base or get people interested in focusing in, and like we had a lot of $1 pledges of just people who are interested and want to see what's going on and be up to date. But once again, like we launched, and I was like, we had to press this. We had some ideas, but I was so far behind, and I just barely gotten a press kit together, and we barely got the video together. We threw it up there, and then like people were out chatting on Twitter, and I think it was Sarah had tweeted something, and then who was it? Nels also was excited about it.
Yeah.
Nels Anderson of Clay, and some people were tweeting around, and then Kirk Hamilton was like,
And Kirk was like, it was Kirk that was like, this is a cool idea.
Yeah, he dug it, man, and I just put out a smiley face on
Smiles.
thank you, yes, and he covered it, and a lot of other people just started covering it, and so it kind of snowballed because it's a neat idea that has some legs, but without any attention at all, it's just going to kind of be a niche side thing, and I mean we're kind of growing a bit out of that, and hopefully PAX will fix that too. But yeah, the idea was always like, well, how do we get some attention? How do we get broadcast this? And that really worked well, I think, with the Kickstarter. So
Awesome, guys. Like that's sweet.
yeah,
I mean, you gotta love the snowball effect from Twitter. It's like, hey, I like this idea. Retweet. Oh, that looks really cool. Next thing you know, you wake up in the morning, you have like bajillions of dollars just like sitting there. You're like, yes.
Yeah, it's weird, and Twitter. It's funny, I would have predicted that Facebook was directing more traffic than Twitter, but actually Twitter directs a lot more traffic.
Yeah,
to this
you'd be
kind of stuff.
surprised.
Oh
Yeah.
I definitely have to say, honestly, so far, from my point of my perspective from marketing for Gamer Chat Weekly and UGR, I have found that actually Instagram is our biggest
Really?
word of mouth.
Interesting.
And then second by Twitter, and then Facebook is like our least most, I guess, way of getting out to people. I
think Facebook just is starting to hit that point where it's just not as relevant as it used to be.
Yeah, and it's also a little bit on lockdown. They're now requiring folks to kind of, if you want to get attention on Facebook, you have to kind of boost posts and pay for advertising.
They want you basically just to pay to get your thing in front of more people. It's like, yeah, you could post it, but no one's gonna see it. Like, oh, all right. Because like we have like 400 something fans on our Facebook page, but like 30 people see our posts, and we post like 2 or 3 times a day. And the only ones that really get seen are the ones that I'm boosting, and I'm paying like $7 a boost, and then those kick up. It's like, oh, this is lame. When
It's not quite worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, when I can just take a picture of the article and stick it on Instagram and be like, here's half the article. For more, go to blah blah blah.com.
So interesting.
That's fascinating. Yeah, because in a way, like, I'm gonna have to look into this more because I kind of was like, okay,
Analytics.
Instagram, it's all visual. Like, we don't. Why are we gonna go to the place where everybody's looking at pictures?
You'd be surprised at how many things are actually just like pictures of text. Like,
wow.
Some of our biggest, I guess, Instagram photos on our Instagram, on our company one, are literally just like 2 lines of text that say, follow us at Twitter, or they're like, Gamer Chat Weekly is gonna have this person on, but no picture, just the text. And they get the most likes and the most responses for some reason. I mean, I don't know what it is. I'm just not sure if it's, from a snowball effect of people liking it and then, whatever. But, it could definitely work for, an audio-heavy game. So
yeah, maybe I shouldn't have discounted it. I should really check it out. Yeah,
check it out. Look at the number. I'm big into into analytics and numbers, and trying to figure out what is the best, most effective, cheapest way, I guess, to get a brand or a name out to market. And I definitely, but from comparison, for our company doing what we do, Instagram seems to be our number one way to route to go. So.
Wow.
Definitely check it out. It's definitely worth looking into.
Yeah, I wonder if and it's also like screen space, like the real estate on your screen is so big with Instagram compared with Facebook or Twitter. I wonder why. Like I'll see the Onion headlines and they have like like that, but like as you scroll, it really does take up the whole screen. I don't know.
Or another big one for marketing, weird as it sounds, Reddit. Post something on Reddit and that stuff goes crazy.
Oh yeah.
We had an incident a couple weeks ago, Jerome. Where Jerome...
So it's like we heard back in June during E3 month, I picked up a rumor, and I knew it was just a rumor, so I didn't take, much, into it, but I always like to report on rumors for UGR because you never know when a rumor is going to turn out to be true, so you say it's a rumor, but so anyway, I wrote something about Fallout 4. It was a rumor. And then, 3 months later, it just blew up on Reddit and got, 10,000 views in a day.
Wow.
We had 10,000 views in 4 hours, and it took down our site for 2 days.
I know, and I was
so
getting
much web traffic
on other sites.
Is that the one that was talking about, that it was going to be set in Boston?
Yep.
Yeah, it was that one.
I remember when that happened.
And it was funny
I missed this one.
And it was funny because when it hit Reddit, it exploded, and all these people were talking about it on Reddit and going to our website and making comments. And some were very rude about the comments, oh, this is so old. Why you post this now? I'm like, did you look at the date? It clearly said this was made in June.
Yeah, so whoever posted on Reddit is the one that.
At that point, it was awesome that we're having all this web traffic, but at the same time, it's now I have to sit here and defend the website because people can't read the disclaimer saying the following article is rumor, and then look at the date and then when it's posted. I'm like, oh my god. And it was cool seeing my stats blow up for a day or two, but
yeah, I definitely dipped into my 15 minutes of fame there for a second.
Jerome was like, I'm the most loved and hated man in the universe right now.
Yeah.
Those life cycles are so funny. You'll see the same.
Try and kill me.
Spreaker was assassinated. That guy lied about Fallout. I take that stuff seriously. All right, so kind of, I guess, moving away now, going, I guess, kind of into your personal side of things. What kind of systems do you guys own? Do you play games really, or do you not have time for it, or? Oh,
definitely. Do you want to go first?
You go first. Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Jinx, show me a soda.
Yeah. Well, I grew up on, my first one was, the Atari and then the NES, so way back then, and then the Super NES, and I think PlayStation 2 briefly, but then by that point I was kind of getting into college stuff and I didn't have as much time and got away, and I came back to the Xbox 360. It was just after the 360 had come out, and I had a roommate that was really into it, and that's what got me kind of back into games again. Was seeing, I think the first game was it was either it was around the Batman Arkham Asylum time period, a little bit before that, I think. And so I've been wanting to get a PS3 because there are so many really interesting story games, but
my god.
Oh man,
so much Last of Us.
Oh man.
So much Last of Us.
I regret it, and I think that
I just beat it on Survivor, and I'm really excited about it. I'm just going to go ahead and brag, and now I'm done.
Don't talk about it. I have to play it still. I don't own a PlayStation.
All right, I won't.
I've seen it played. I sat down with my friends and watched it. Some of it. Enough to where I wasn't too much spoiled. But that looks tough too. If you're being that on Survivor, that's impressive.
It's pretty hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Watch all those clickers.
Yeah. Well, clickers are interesting because they remain as hard across difficulties. So they're always as hard as they're going to be, kind of.
Huh.
If you think about it, right? Because they're one-hit kills.
Oh, yeah.
It's so fascinating the way the difficulty changes, and some things get harder and some things don't get harder as you go up because of that. Anyway.
Anyways, game mechanics details.
Yep.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, I'm the kind of person that I like to play the RPG games like Mass Effects and then Fallout, but I hate to say this, like I like to put on story mode, and I don't like it very difficult. I'm maybe a wuss in that way, like but I don't know, I just
Not at all. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
think so.
Different strokes.
I
Okay,
mean,
cool.
If you think about it, there are certain games that I forgot what game did it, but there was a game that when you played it, I think was it Mass Effect? You could play it story, or you can play it. There was like different ways. Like
It was only
there was like normal story and
Oh,
something
I
else.
played-
There was 3 different
Yeah,
options.
it's a mode. Yeah.
To where if you didn't want to if you didn't care about the cutscenes and the story, they skipped all that for you. But if you really wanted to see it, then they put everything back in and make it the enemies less hard. If you just wanted it for the story, like I like
Right.
that option because not everyone wants to play a game for the difficulty. They want to play it because they want to be part of a story and
True.
be that character for that next 8 hours. Like
Yeah, there's a game, Alan Wake. They did it in a way that they had like a dynamic difficulty. The idea is it could detect. It'd be like if you died like twice in a row or even a third time, it's like the difficulty would start to get to lessen to make sure that you could get through that bottleneck where you weren't doing as well
AI
as
starts to get
Yeah,
they
yeah, they
throttle it.
start.
Dead-esque.
Yep. And so like I thought that was an awesome experience because then that way it's like I feel like I'm being challenged, but not to the point that like
You want to throw your controller through the TV?
yeah, I never really was into the frustrating. I mean, when I was back on the NES, I had a lot of frustrating points, but like I played the original Ninja Gaiden. Oh my god, I beat that. That was hard.
Congratulations!
Really?
Congratulations.
I'm giving you a gold sticker right now.
I
because-
also beat The Adventure of Link. Zelda 2, The
Oh,
Adventure
you
of
have
Link.
my respect.
I beat the original Zelda. I was hardcore back then, man. The original like Final Fantasy 3 or whatever, because that was the first one that came out. Whatever that was. Yeah, like but I was a kid and I had like all the time in the world.
All right, Jerome.
I don't have all the time in the world now.
Jerome, this is the perfect time to ask your one question to the guest that you always ask every guest.
Okay. Do you like Zelda?
Oh yeah,
Never
absolutely.
Because I love Zelda.
Played it.
Oh yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah. And there's
I
no
know.
doubt.
I always get to ask that question to the guests, and it's normally a yes.
Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
imagine there'd be too many people that would be like, "No, I don't like it." Do some people say that?
I think we've had one guest that said they'd never played a Zelda game.
I was
Well, now
sad.
too, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your all-time favorite Zelda game? Around the room, let's go.
Oh wow. I don't know. The original one was just so good. Like I had so much fun with that, and the thing I loved about it, and it's the kind of thing that none of the rest of the Zeldas really kind of stuck with the I don't know, sort of the puzzly way that the original Zelda. The original Zelda had a lot of like original adventure and text adventure style to it, right? It took a lot of like wandering around and just hunting and pecking and figuring things out and trying to burn every single bush you can find to find the passageway, and even the way you had to kind of figure out maps yourself and draw them out like you would in a text adventure. That was that way, and I think it took a very different turn with Link and went forward, and especially as tech. It followed a tech route, but like I missed that, and I felt like when Fez came out, one of the things I always said was like, wow, it's kind of moved the original Zelda forward in a way that no other Zelda did, right? Because it was, it had a very similar experience where you just have to struggle with trying to figure out what the heck do these symbols mean, or what the heck do I do with that? Until there's tons of space to figure out. I loved Fez. God, that was good.
I loved Fez. And I was like so proud of myself for this is so lame. I was so proud of myself for figuring out how to Google all of the solutions. That I was proud of that. Because there's no actual text to refer to
man.
room where, so you just play with phrases and descriptors
That doesn't even sound
until
like,
you can find what you're looking for.
It doesn't even sound like you could get bragging rights. I Googled all the phrases. Yeah. Sup.
Yeah, you're like, I found out how to find the answer for this. It was putting your Google skills to the test, and I felt excited. I sat there and I had the decoding for all the 3 different languages, and I did ultimately complete everything with a lot of internet help, and I was so excited to crack the internet to get at it.
Well, I definitely needed help with that. I mean, I had to go through and I used the internet quite a bit here and there. You know,
You're
it's
like
funny.
that room with the owls, and then
Yeah.
the other thing, and you're like, just which one of these is gonna get to
Yeah.
the right puzzle?
Yeah, it was a feat.
Yeah,
And now, like, I guess Fez 2 is canceled. Is that
Yeah.
such
right?
a bummer.
Yeah, because people got mad on Twitter, and then he's like, you know what? I'm not making the game anymore.
And then Cliffy B was like, "Come back." We
Oh, was he really?
I think it was
Oh.
somebody from Screw Attack, like the annoyed gamer, I think his name is, from Screw Attack, criticized the first game, and then the creator of Fez was like, you know what? I can't curse because Cameron already cursed. But he was like, "F you, I'm not gonna make Fez 2." And I don't know. I think it's a little
wasn't sure it
childish. I
was
mean,
the
criticism
game.
is
It
always
was like,
there. You know, you just got to deal with it.
I think it wasn't about the game. I think he was talking about getting quotes. Like, wasn't he talking about accessibility, like to Jonathan Blow and to Phil Fish, and like just sort of their willingness or unwillingness to talk about certain things? And he was lashing out like, "We won't help you if you won't help us," and whatever.
Yeah, I think it
I may
actually
be
was
wrong, but
that.
something
Here we
like that.
go. I'm gonna go to ugrgaming.com and I'm going to find the article that I wrote over this.
Yeah.
Because
I wrote about this.
Because I wrote that article.
Well, I'll say, man, the one thing I've learned is just stay away from the comments. Stay away from the comments all the time, man. It's like there's no good in there. I've seen so many things blow up, and like half the time, you know, as a writer, like growing up when there was no email, and then suddenly there was email, and suddenly like I wrote lots of emails I really regretted writing from like 94 to 97, and like finally I was like, sometimes it's just best to walk away.
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay, so basically it was over voicing objections to press inquiries about Microsoft's reversal on the Xbox One indie game self-publishing rules.
Oh yeah, I remember
So
that. Yeah.
it basically had everything to do with the indie industry and how the Xbox One was affecting them with the rules and regulations they had to go through now. Market like the XBLA was. So that's what that was over, and it was a giant Twitter fight. Someone called him an effing hipster, and then he said he was done and canceled it. And then Cliffy B wrote him a post or a tweet or something. I forgot where that was. That was a whole other article. But Cliffy B then wrote back, "We need you, come back." And he's like, "No." So yeah.
Being called an effing hipster, I guess that is pretty offensive.
Yeah, he looks like a hipster. I mean, he's got the glasses, right?
Hipster means different things. Like, I feel like there's looking like a hipster.
Hipsters
Hipster
are
to me
so
has,
not
has
mainstream,
more to
but the word is now mainstream.
well, it's like it just has such a different definition. Like to me, hipster as a pejorative has more to do with apathy and like sort of a cool indifference. And then there's like hipster culture, like music and clothes and stuff, and that's all fine. But to me, if you're like a passionate artist and you just happen to have these trappings, like you're cool by me. But like the thing about hipsterness that like is the too coolness part that I think is where that starts to become like a negative connotation.
Yes, I totally heard this conversation last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here, if you think about it, calling the creator of Fez a hipster is kind of accurate if he created an indie title. You know,
That
in a
was
certain
brand
light.
new, that wasn't mainstream. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
I guess
Jerome.
you could say that he is an effing hipster.
Breaking down
You
the
are
fourth
other.
wall.
I don't understand.
What is this sorcery, Jerome? What is
Yeah.
this? What are this?
Maybe he was just making an observation. Maybe he wasn't insulting it.
Well, the you know that adverb is pretty not neutral, I guess.
I by no means am giving an opinion on that, though. I don't want to get in the middle of that.
The culture war, the great culture war.
Yes, I'm just a spectator who makes comments. The peanut gallery. There you go. I'm the peanut gallery. You can't hate me. I'm just making comments.
Just sitting here making comments, not caring. Can't hate me, haha. That's Jerome all day until we have our console war next week, or when we do our console war. We're our next episode. We are doing a console war. Basically, each one of the hosts are taking a company. We have Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, and each one of us has to basically give an argument of why our company did the best this last console generation, giving facts. And then we're doing a content.
Angie will be going for Sony, Cameron's Microsoft, and I will be going for I will be fighting for the glorious house that Papa Shigeru built.
Nintendo.
Yes.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I can announce that now. We'll be doing a game giveaway. It's going to be called the UGR swag bag. We don't know what's going to be in it yet because it's a swag bag. So
Right.
it's
No
kind of
one
like
knows
a mini,
until you get it and open it.
like a loot crate. You open it and it's like, oh look, I have this new sweatshirt that says +5 to cold resistance. Cool. So, wow, it's been almost an hour already. Holy crap!
No, really?
Seriously,
Yeah.
we only have like 10 more minutes left.
This has been great, man. It's just like we're just chatting. I mean, like I actually, there's been a lot of times I've just completely forgotten that we're actually recording.
We're being
this.
recorded.
Yeah, I know.
Just say it
I'm
to
like,
Dave
oh
Barry.
great. What is
And
it?
that's I guess that's the kind of like mood we go for. I mean, that's why we went early. We talk a little bit. I start recording and we just continue our conversation. And next thing you know, boom, it's been an hour already. And you're like, what? Since when? I've been having so much fun. This is great. So Codename Cygnus, it's coming out for iOS. Do we have like a hard release date yet, or still working on that?
Well, I mean, we'd like it to, if we're approved and everything goes well, we want to launch on Thursday. Hold on, what is next Thursday? Next Thursday, the 29th. But we're doing something that's very unique, and we're not sure if Apple's going to be like, yes, okay, fine, or they're going to come back to us and say, no, we want you to change. This doesn't work. You need to fix this. So with luck, it'll be about a week from now, a little over a week from now. Otherwise, it'll be after PAX because we're wanting to launch prior to PAX, which starts next Friday, a week from Friday. So
because it'd be great.
Really?
Because it would definitely be great to launch before PAX. That way,
Yep.
when you go to PAX, you're like, look at our game, already available. Download it now. Thanks.
Yep. Go and play.
Look here, I see you have a phone.
Oh, okay, here, let me download this for you. Come here.
Yeah.
What's your Apple ID?
I say come here.
What is it? What's your Apple ID again? Oh, gotcha. Okay.
What's your phone's password? 1234.
So it'd be on the iOS. It should work on basically all Apple products, correct? Phone,
iPads.
iPads.
iPhone, iPod, and iPad. And the thing is, you need to have iOS 6.0 or above because of the voice recognition stuff we're doing, and because of the way that we're using the sound player. It's a tech thing. We tried to make it available 5.0 and above, but it just wasn't going to work.
I was just wondering because all I have is an iPad. And it's not even mine, but I could definitely steal my mom's iPad and play on that.
You can play on an iPad. Yeah, definitely. The visuals are going to be the same.
Do you have any...
My voice, however. No, I'm kidding.
Do you have any plans to eventually maybe jump over to Android 2, or no?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, thank goodness.
That's the idea. The
That's
idea
all I
is
run.
that... Yeah, oh, good. Yeah, and we know there are a lot of folks there. It's just that, since we're trying a new business model, it's like we got to prove it somewhere, and I think iOS is the place you have to kind of prove something like this.
Oh, definitely.
And also they had some good voice recognition software that was open source, and then we kind of bumped it up a little bit, and it's a good sort of first step. But we have someone that we're going to be contracting with to start the Android port as soon as we get some sales and we're certain that we can afford it. We're doing it, and it's an episodic run drama, so it's not as though we're putting something out and then what the sales we get at launch is all we get, and then the sales go down. It's like we're going to continue running this. We want it to be a service. So as long as there are people that there's enough interest to justify continuing to contract people and bring people in together, we're just going to keep running it like a radio drama series, right? So do you care if I give a website plug?
Go for it.
All right.
I'm all about plugs.
Codenamecygnus.com. That's Cygnus, Cygnus, as in like the swan Cygnus. Codenamecygnus.com is where you can kind of like sign up for the email list if you want updates, and we'll be announcing stuff there. But yeah, iOS, and we'll be at PAX.
Yeah, and speaking of plugs,
we
I
will.
believe before the show you guys were talking about demos or some sort. You were talking.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. I'm so bad at this. Yes,
It's okay.
I'm doing I will be on a panel at PAX on Monday at 11 a.m. with other members of this is the longest thing ever. Okay, Game Audio Network Guild Voice Actors Coalition.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
Is there like
and
an acronym or something?
Yeah,
it's
gonna say,
GVAC. It's
the
a nest.
acronym
It's
for
like
that.
a Russian doll of acronyms because it's dang is the guild acronym, and then there's the VAC part, which is the voice actor part. It's yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so it's me, and it's a cool group of people because some of them are in voice casting and voice direction, and other people come from different sides of the dialogue recording process. There'll be other talent on there as well. But if you have a voice demo, an interactive demo, and you'll be at PAX, please submit it to us. I think that there's if you go to the PAX schedule website and look up the time, find the link. There's an email. I wish I could remember it off the top of my head, but there's an email to send your demo to. We'll listen to it and we'll all give feedback as a panel, and it's going to be a really cool, fun time. I feel like my voice career in games specifically started at PAX East, just from it being the first conference I attended and meeting people and sort of following reference by reference and step by step into my career. So I'm excited to kind of maybe give back to people.
Giving back, that's what we're all about.
Paying it forward.
Paying it forward.
Yeah.
Much as I can.
All right, well, I would love thank you for, taking time out of your busy schedules and staying up late with me. So we're all on the East Coast, so it's midnight for all of us. So, I thank you, Jon and Sarah, for coming out. Greatly appreciate it. Do you guys have Twitter handles or Facebook pages that you want to throw out there for followers?
You can go ahead first.
Go ahead. Me? Okay. Yeah, I'm on Twitter, and it's my first initial and my last name, so it's SELMALEH. Selmale is my Twitter.
Cool. And then I'll just give the codename Cygnus one. It's CYGNUS. Codename Cygnus is the Twitter feed. My personal Twitter feed is Jonathan Myers. That's Jonathan spelled JONATHONMYERS. Jonathan. Yeah.
Not Jonathan.
No.
No G's.
No.
All right. Well, I'm gonna actually put the Codename Cygnus the website link in the description of the podcast on Podomatic.
Oh, thank you.
That way it's there for everyone that wants to. I'll also put all your guys' Twitter tags. That way, in case they didn't hear it or whatever, or didn't feel rewinding, it'll be there. I'd like to thank you again. You could follow.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You could follow Gamer Chat Weekly at Gamer Chat Weekly on Twitter. You could follow UGR Gaming at UGR Gaming. You can follow me at Zoldak88 and Jerome.
You can follow me at Jerome UGR. You can also follow our absent co-host Angie at Dantes_Angel.
Shout out to Angie.
Hi,
for not being
Angie.
here. There we go. You missed John, you missed John Marston. You saw
Bye,
it.
Angie.
We'll tell her to skip to the end. Oh wow, that John Marston. Huh.
He's a charmer.
You should send her that MP3.
I'm going to. I'll
It's
send it to her.
he
She's
was
gonna
on the
cry.
show, and when he said this,
The suspiciously game-like dialogue occurred in a natural, spontaneous interview.
We've had Cass Anvar do things like that.
he was the voice of Altair.
Yeah, Cass Anvar has this weird habit of jumping on our podcast every so often and starts talking like Altair. And he's gonna assassinate us while we do our podcast, and then he leaves. It's like, thanks. But anyways, that's all the time we got. I'd like to thank Jon and Sarah again. Gamer Chat Weekly.
Thank you for tuning in to Gamer Chat Weekly. Tune in every week to hear about the latest in gaming. Remember to visit ugrgaming.com daily for your gaming updates.